God's name be glorified. First of all, I thank the Lord for the opportunity that God has given me to share with you a brief message as we are approaching to the new year. Also, I thank Brother Krishna for making all these arrangements. Year 2021 is a year which was indeed quite challenging for all of us. As we all know, the whole world has grappled with COVID in the last 2 years. Many people have lost their lives. Many people lost their loved ones. Many people are still fighting for it. New variants are emerging one after another. Lockdowns, curfew, vaccines, masks are part of our lives. The question is, in the midst of all these uncertainties, as a Christian, what can we do? Do we have any hope? I would like to read Psalms 139. Psalms 139, and this Psalms tells us that our God is an all-knowing God. Without His knowledge, nothing is happening in this world. This Psalm is written by King David, the great king that the Israelites have ever had. Of course, he had some failures in his life, but he was a great man of God. He was a man whom God Himself declared as a man after God's own heart. 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 14. We can dissect the Psalms into 5 parts. The first 6 verses tells us that our God knows all what we do. Our God knows all what we do. Verses 1 to 6 says, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Here the psalmist says, our God searches us. He knows our sitting down. He knows our rising up. He knows our thoughts from afar off. He knows our paths. He knows our lying down. He knows our ways. He knows our tongue, which means He knows what we speak. He knows everything altogether. Verse 5 says, He hedged us behind and before. Just look at the past 1 year. The world has witnessed so many things in the past 1 year. The world has witnessed the pestilence in the form of COVID, the calamities in the form of tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, bushfires, lava eruptions, storms, etc., etc. Here the psalmist says, He hedged us from behind and before. He protected us from behind and before. He laid His hands upon us, and that's why we are still alive. Then the psalmist says, such kind of knowledge is too wonderful to me. Here King David is overwhelmed when he realized the fact that God whom he worships is the God who knows each and everything that happens in his life. Our God knows what we do. Secondly, our God knows where we go. Verses 7 to 12. Verse 7 says, where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall uphold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and light are both alike to you. Here the psalmist says, we cannot hide anything from God. We cannot flee from God's presence. Here King David says, if he ascend into heaven, God is there. If he descend into hell, God is there. If he dwells in the uttermost parts of the sea, God is there. Here the psalmist is portraying in a metaphorical way. As we know, heaven is real. Hell is real. Uttermost parts of the sea is real. But so far, no humans have ever experienced these realities yet. Yes, in the future, people are going to occupy heaven. People will go to hell. Here the psalmist is making the point that wherever we go, God is watching us. People tend to do bad things at night because it's dark at night. But here psalmist says, even we cannot hide anything from God in darkness. Because for God, the night shines as the day. People who use the smartphone, they know that there are so many apps right now where we can track people's location, where people are going and in which location they are in and how long they stay in each location and so on and so forth. But these apps are not able to track if there is a signal lost, or it is not able to track what an individual is doing in a given time. But for God, in His eyes, He can see everything through. We cannot hide anything from God. God knows where we go. Thirdly, our God knows what we are. Verses 13 to 16. It says, for you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. How far you and me can remember our past? We can remember only a few things that we have gone through in the past because we are people who forget things. Do we have any idea about what all things that we have inside our complex body? The fact that we have no idea about the 3 trillion cells which are inside our body. We have no idea about the time that we spend in our mother's womb. But our God knows each and every cell of our body. Our God knows exactly when we are formed in our mother's womb. We are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. The frame of our body is fully designed by God. Even when we were only a mere substance, His eyes have seen us. Even when we were unformed, everything about us is written in His book. Also, the psalmist says here, even the days of our life are written in His book. None of us know when our lives are finishing on this earth. None of the doctors or the medical professionals or any human mortal can predict the future of our life. But God knows everything in His perfect wisdom. The things that we have already passed in our lives, the things that we have currently doing in our lives, the things that we are going to do in the future. Our God knows what we are. Fourthly, our God knows what we think. Verses 17 to 18. It says, how precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How great is the sum of them. If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. God knows our thoughts. Our mind is so complex. Every day and every moment, what all things that we are thinking in our mind. Our mind can travel very fast. The people who live in Sri Lanka can think about the things in Australia. The people who are living in Australia can think about the things in India. How many good things and bad things we are thinking every day and every moment. If we could weigh up our thinking in a balance, it would be heavier than any balance could weigh it. That is exactly what King David is saying here. If we could able to count the sum of our thoughts, it would be more in number than the sand in the seashore. Could anyone be able to count the number of sands on Jaffna Beach? Could anyone be able to count the number of sands which your hand would be able to scoop it up? It is nearly an impossible attempt to count the sands. But here the psalmist says, our God counts our thoughts. Revelation 2:23 says, I am he who searches the minds and hearts. Our God said, our God knows what we think. Finally, our God knows what we love. Verses 19 to 24. It says, oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, you bloodthirsty men, for they speak against you wickedly. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate them? O Lord, who hate you? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties. And see if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. We are living in a wicked world. This world embraces wickedness. This world embraces bloodthirst. This world embraces those people who speak evil. This world embraces those who are enemies of God, who hates God and rise up against God. But as Christians, how is our response to this world? Jesus prayed in his high priestly prayer just a few hours before his crucifixion. In John's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 16 and 18, he says, they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. As you send me into the world, I also have sent them into the world. Jesus prayed this very prayer to his Father, which includes not only his 12 disciples, but also to all the believers who are about to believe in him in the future, which includes you and me. Dear brothers and sisters, as Christians, we have to understand the fact that we are in the world, but we are not of the world. All the things that we are seeing in this world today will pass away one day. We are living in this world only for a short period of time. As we are approaching to the new year, we are approaching even more to his second coming. We have seen in Psalm 139 how great our God is. Number one, our God is a God who knows our sitting down, our rising up, our lying down, and he knows all what we do. Number two, our God is a God who knows where we go, whether it is heaven or hell or underneath the sea or in darkness or at night. He knows where we go. Thirdly, our God knows what we are. We have limitations in our understanding of ourselves, but our God knows everything even before we were formed, and he has written in his book even the days fashioned for us. Fourthly, our God knows even the things that we are thinking in our minds. And finally, our God knows what we love. Are we the people who love the world, or are we the people who love God? May our God help each one of us to love God more than anything else in this world, especially in the coming year. May our God help us and strengthen us and give His strength and grace and wisdom to serve the Lord with all our heart. And may His name be glorified. Thank you.